You know, when you think about war at sea, most of us, we get this picture in our heads.
Oh, yeah, the Hollywood version.
Exactly. Giant aircraft carriers, jets taking off. Or maybe you're thinking of a submarine thriller like The Hunt for Red October. It's all on the surface.
It's all visible, right? Loud.
Yeah.
But that image, that whole idea is becoming really, really outdated.
How so?
Because the real strategic battleground, it's not on the waves anymore. It's thousands of meters beneath them.
And that is exactly what we're getting into today. We've been digging through a stack of reports on what's being called seabed warfare.
And the core idea is pretty unsettling.
It is. It's that our whole modern world, our economy, communications, even our power grid, is basically just sitting there unprotected, in the dark, at the bottom of the ocean.
It's a classic case of everyone looking in the wrong direction. We're all watching the surface fleets. We're worried about hypersonic missiles.
Right.
And meanwhile, the real game has quietly shifted to the ocean floor.
So let's just start with what I think is the biggest misconception. I had to read this stat twice because it just didn't sound real.
I think I know which one you mean.
It's the cloud, right. We all think the cloud is literally in the clouds. We see Starlink, 5G, we just assume it's all wireless.
That's the satellite myth.
Mm-hmm.
It's so persistent. But the physics, I mean, it just doesn't work for the kind of data we use.
So what's the reality?
The reality is that somewhere around 95, maybe even 99% of all international data is traveling through fiber optic cables.
Laid on the seabed.
Laid directly on the seabed.
And just to be clear, the entire global internet, Wall Street, cat videos, everything is pulsing through a bunch of, garden hoses in the mud?
That's a surprisingly accurate way to put it. I mean, in the deep ocean, these cables are often less than an inch thick.
An inch?
Just glass fibers, really, wrapped in a bit of plastic. And through those tiny threads, you have everything. Financial data, military secrets, your Netflix stream, everything.
That puts a whole new light on the word fragility.
Exactly. And that's our mission for this deep dive, to really understand this war for the seabed. Because one act of sabotage down there.
You could cripple a nation. No missiles, no bombs.
It's just a broken cable.
Okay, so let's map this out. We have to start with this nervous system, the cables.
Right.
Then I want to get to the resources. Because there's apparently a new gold rush happening down there.
For minerals, yeah. It's huge.
And then finally, the military angle. The sensors, the subs, this idea of a transparent battle space.
It's all connected, the economy, the resources, and the military plays. You can't separate them.
Okay, let's stick with the cables. You said they're thin. Are they armored at all? I mean, they have to survive down there.
They are, yeah, but mostly near the shore to protect against, ship anchors, even shark bites. That was a real problem back in the 80s.
Seriously, sharks?
Yeah, they seem to be attracted to the electrical field. But out in the deep abyss, the cables are much lighter. Nothing is supposed to be down there to touch them.
But things do touch them.
All the time. Fishing trawlers, anchors dragging where they shouldn't. These cables break by accident dozens of times a year.
Okay, but those are accidents. We send a ship, we fix it. It's a pain, but it's routine.
Right. But it can take weeks to fix one, depending on the weather, the ship's location. Now imagine not one break, but 3 or 5, all at the same time.
A coordinated attack.
And that's where this concept of the gray zone comes in.
That was a big term in the research, the space between peace and war.
Exactly. A cable goes dead in the Atlantic. Was it a fishing boat? An underwater earthquake? Or was it, say, a Russian submersible that cut it on purpose?
How would you ever know?
You probably wouldn't. Proving who did it, attribution is almost impossible down there. It's dark, the pressure's immense, there are no cameras.
It's the perfect crime scene.
It is. You can cause chaos for your adversary's economy and then just, shrug your shoulders. It wasn't us. Plausible deniability.
And some places are more vulnerable than others, right? The maps and the source material showed these choke points.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the Red Sea or the Malacca Strait. It's like a digital superhighway squeezed through a tiny alley.
It looks like spaghetti on the map.
And if you can disrupt the cables in just that one narrow channel, you've basically severed the connection between entire continents.
So the nervous system is exposed. But it's not just about data anymore, is it? We saw what happened with Nord Stream. Our energy grid is moving offshore.
Massively. We're building huge offshore wind farms. All that power has to get back to land through thick, high-voltage cables. We're also building interconnectors between countries.
So you're not just cutting off someone's internet.
You're turning off their lights. The threat evolves from an economic nuisance to a national crisis.
And you can't exactly build a fence around a pipeline that's 1,000 kilometers long.
No. The sheer size of the ocean is your enemy when it comes to defense.
Which brings us to the why. Why is everyone suddenly so interested in the deep sea? There's this treasure hunt feeling in the reports.
It really is a treasure hunt. It sounds like science fiction, but we're talking about these things called polymetallic nodules.
Right. What are they?
They're basically potato-sized rocks, and they're just sitting on the seabed, millions of them, especially in the Pacific, at depths of like 4,000 meters or more.
4,000 meters? That's insane pressure. Why bother?
Because they are packed with cobalt, nickel, copper, the rare earth elements.
The exact things you need for batteries.
Yeah, for batteries, electric cars, smartphones, missile guidance systems. The demand is just exploding.
Ah, okay. So it's about supply chains. Right now, a lot of those minerals are controlled by, well, a handful of countries on land.
China, primarily. They
Yeah.
dominate the processing. So for the U.S., for Europe, for India, the seabed is a path to what they call supply chain independence.
If you can pull them up from the bottom of the ocean, you're not beholden to a rival.
It's a race for the raw materials of the 21st century.
But this is the part that got me. To do that mining, or even to lay a cable, you have to map the sea floor.
In incredible detail, yes.
And the sources kept mentioning dual-use research. A science ship isn't always just a science ship.
That is one of the thorniest issues right now. To mine the sea, you need these high-resolution maps. You need to know water temperatures, salinity, acoustics.
And that's the exact same data.
The exact same data a submarine commander needs to hide their boat.
Because the terrain and water layers affect sonar?
Precisely. If you know the underwater canyons and mountains better than your opponent, you know where to hide. You know where their sonar has blind spots.
So a scientific vessel could be mapping out future battlefields.
It's the perfect cover. We're just studying geology.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're finding hiding spots for your submarines and identifying where the other guy has put his sensors.
Which brings us to the transparent battle space. I love that phrase. It's so ominous.
It's a complete paradigm shift. For 100 years, the ocean was the ultimate place to hide. A submarine was a ghost. Once it went deep, it was gone.
That was its whole point. Stealth.
But technology is chipping away at that. It's stripping that stealth away.
How? I mean, the ocean is massive.
We're basically filling it with microphones, huge underwater sensor networks. Some are fixed on the seabed, modern versions of the old Cold War listening posts.
And now they're mobile too, right? These gliders.
Underwater drones, yeah. They look like torpedoes with wings. They can patrol a patch of ocean for months. Just listening. Listening for the sound of a submarine engine, for any disturbance.
So if the ocean becomes transparent, if you can be tracked constantly, what does that mean for submarines? Are they obsolete?
Their role is changing fast. They're shifting from just being ship killers to, well, being guardians of this new infrastructure or attackers of it.
Cable hunters or sensor hunters.
It's a cat-mouse game. One side has a sensor grid, the other side sends a sub or a drone to go find it and disable it. A constant battle for information.
So who are the big players in this? Who's actually capable of operating down there?
It's a very, very exclusive club, and you have to start with China.
The sources really emphasize their activity.
They have the world's largest fleet of so-called research vessels. They're mapping everywhere, particularly the South China Sea and the Indian Ocean.
And that civil-military fusion idea comes up again.
The line is just blurred to the point of not existing. Data from a fishing boat can end up in a naval database. It gives them a huge advantage.
Then there's Russia. They have a long history here.
Russia's the old pro. They have a special unit, the GUGI, that operates these deep-sea assets, mother submarines that carry smaller submersibles.
And those are the ones that can actually mess with the cables.
That's what they're designed for. To land on the seabed, tap into a cable, or just cut it. And you'll see their spy ship, the Yantar, loitering near critical cable routes. When that ship shows up, people get very nervous.
What about the U.S.?
The U.S. and its allies are more focused on surveillance and protection, maintaining that transparency. They're investing in the sensor networks to track the other players. And this is key in rapid repair capabilities.
Right, if a cable gets cut, how fast can you fix it?
Exactly.
And then there was India, an interesting player.
India is in such a critical spot geographically. All that Europe to Asia, traffic, data, and energy, it all flows past their coast. They're realizing they have to look down, not just out. They can't let China map their entire backyard without a response.
So everyone is rushing to the bottom, and the tech is getting smaller and smarter. We have to talk about the robots.
AUVs, autonomous underwater vehicles. This is the future.
And these are fully autonomous, not just remote controlled.
Correct. You program a mission, you drop it in the water, and it goes. It could map a pipeline, or, and this is the really spooky part, it could be a sleeper weapon.
What do you mean a sleeper?
Imagine a small drone. It navigates to a critical cable choke point, buries itself in the mud, and just goes to sleep to save power.
And it just sits there.
For a month, maybe a year, totally silent. Then, on a signal, a low-frequency acoustic ping, it wakes up and detonates a small charge. Cable cut.
It's like a pre-positioned minefield for the internet.
It is.
Yeah.
And they're so small, so quiet. Finding one would be like finding a specific rock on the bottom of the ocean. And then there's the idea of swarms. Right. Why send one big, expensive submarine when you can send 1,000 cheap little drones? You can just overwhelm any defense through sheer numbers. It completely changes the economics of the fight.
This all feels like the Wild West. Aren't there any rules, any laws against this?
And that's the big intellectual problem here. There's a massive legal vacuum. The main body of law is UNCLOS, the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea.
But that was written in the 80s.
Before the internet as we know it even existed. It's all about fishing rights and oil drilling. Yeah. It's very, very vague about security for infrastructure in international waters.
So if a Navy sees a drone tampering with a cable, what can they do? Can they shoot it?
That's the million-dollar question. A cable isn't sovereign territory. It's private commercial property. If you attack a Navy ship, it's an act of war. If you cut a Google-owned cable, it's property damage.
That ambiguity seems dangerous.
It encourages bad actors. They know the rules are fuzzy, so they can push the envelope, knowing the other side might hesitate to escalate.
So when you pull it all together, the cables, the mining, the robots, it feels like warfare itself is changing.
It is. We're moving away from direct confrontation and toward what sources call indirect warfare.
The goal isn't to win a battle.
The goal is to attack the very foundation of your opponent's society. Attack their data, their energy, their economy, cause it to collapse from within. It's a slower, quieter, but maybe more devastating kind of war.
That's a chilling thought. Okay, so let's recap the big takeaways here. First, the internet is not in the sky, it's in the ocean, and it's fragile.
Second, those science ships you might see on the news, they could be preparing a future battlefield.
And third, the seafloor is becoming this new chessboard full of robot swarms and legal loopholes.
I think the main thing for you, the listener, to take away is that we ignore the infrastructure we can't see. But in this case, the invisible stuff is the most important stuff.
And why should people really care? I mean, beyond it being an interesting story.
You should care because it affects your bank account. It affects your power grid. It affects whether a hospital can pull up your records in an emergency. The connections that make our modern world possible are just lying there on the seabed, and the fight to control them is heating up every single day.
A sobering thought.
Let me leave you with one final thought to mull over. We spend so much time looking up, right? Worrying about space warfare, satellites, AI.
Right, the high ground.
But the truly decisive conflicts of our future might not happen up there at all. They might happen in total silence, in the pitch black, thousands of meters down in the ocean. In a domain where the rules of war haven't even been written yet. That's where the real leverage is now.
A silent battle in the dark? That's going to stick with me. Thank you. And for everyone listening, next time you check your email, just think about those thin glass threads at the bottom of the sea. Stay curious about the invisible systems that run the world. We'll see you in the next deep dive.
Thank you for joining us on this Strategic Vanguard podcast. If you found value in this analysis, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We bring you fresh podcasts every Monday here on YouTube and Rumble, and you can also catch the audio versions on Spotify and Amazon Music. Just search for Strategic Vanguard Podcast. For more insights, articles, and discussions, subscribe to our blog at strategicvanguard.com. Your support helps us grow and bring you more in-depth analysis on defense, geopolitics, and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay strategic.